All right, what's up, everyone? This is the awesemo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We're talking 2-game slate tonight. Not a ton to talk about, but we're going to go through each of the games, maybe mess around with some fantasy cruncher. I'll play around with the lineup builder. We'll talk about maybe how to get a little bit different on this slate because it's pretty tough. The pricing is not ideal, I don't think, for a 2-gamer, especially with Colorado 1. They made it pretty easy on DraftKings, especially to fit that stack in with other good lines. So it should be interesting. I mean, we're gonna see massive chalk, I would have to imagine, on Colorado 1, but that's all right. We've seen that before. I think the last time it looked good if you were fading them, but they put up 4 goals in the third, and obviously did not work out well if you ended up fading them. So could we see the same thing tonight? Sure, we definitely could see the same thing tonight. But I guess that's why we're here trying to break it down. So let me pull up the DraftKings pricing on the lineup builder right here. And yeah, so last night, I'm trying to remember last night, I was a little bit surprised about the Ducks ownership. I thought they would be higher owned, but apparently they only came in at like 6 or 7% in the $8, which is what I played for the most part. Other than that, I don't know, I felt like I was on kind of the right stuff. I'm trying to remember who you kind of needed in order to have a big night. The Montreal-Washington game, that game stack fared very, very well if you had it, or at least if you had Montreal 1 with Ovechkin, you're probably in a pretty good spot. But it didn't seem like there was a line that you really had to have, which I usually do better on those types of slates, but couldn't put a lineup together. Top-heavy nature also doesn't really help when you don't have a really nice lineup or two. So I wasn't close to banking anything, so I kind of knew I was going to lose a little bit, but I'll take that. I think I got like 85 or 90% back, so wasn't too bad all in all. Nice call on the Edmonton goalie. Yeah, I mean, I was on I can't remember his name. Let me pull this guy's name up. He had a shutout. Mikko Koskinen, that's it. He shut out the Blackhawks with Kane too. So pretty impressive there. It's not like he was playing an AHL team. 40 save shutout. That was the guy you did need to compete in tournaments, at least for a top prize. Like, you could certainly cash without him, but yeah. So I was over the field on him. Felt like it was a pretty good spot against a team on a back-to-back, and a Chicago team that we don't think is very good. At least I don't. Other than that, yeah, kind of a weird slate. No line really went off, and that's weird for a, how many games were there? 12, 13. I guess I'm looking, and the Skinner Eichel Palmville line was good, but it's not like they wrecked the slate if you didn't have them. So Colorado 1 probably gonna wreck this one, right? I mean, that's what it's looking like. So of course Colorado 1. It seems like they're always on these shorter slates, and that's a little bit frustrating because they're always super expensive. Their pricing funnels you into certain plays that you know everyone else is gonna have if they also have the most chalky stack. So they're a little bit frustrating, but you understand why they're going to be mega chalk even at these prices. So we've got a few people in here. Do I have the DraftKings pricing up? Yeah, I do. All right. Let's get this going. We've got Colorado and Vancouver. As I mentioned, Colorado 1, really hard not to like them. I mean, if you don't like Colorado 1 tonight, you should not be playing NHL DFS. They are one of the best lines in the NHL. Results-wise, they've been fantastic. The advanced numbers, like the scoring chances, high danger chances for and against, don't really add up to them being dominant. So there you go. If you're looking at a fade for them, if you're playing one lineup and you want to go that route, you can always fall back on the advanced numbers not being great. But eye test, just like surface results, they've been unreal. They're not going to get a super hard match here because there's no Brendan Sutter. The Ben Hutton, Eric Gudbranson pairing is going to be on them a ton, not one that really strikes fear into your blood. So there's really nothing bad to say about Colorado 1 except for their ownership. So you can do with that what you will. I mean, I would suggest playing multiple lineups, and maybe if you're playing 2 lineups, if it's just 2, you have one Colorado 1 lineup, or at least players with Colorado 1 included, and one lineup without it, or something like that. It just feels like it's better for your health, and maybe better for better financially for you as well. Nolan, I don't know if he wrote a morning skate article, but I should check on that after the show. He might have been waiting, since these are 2 late games. The slate also doesn't start till 9, so it's just a weird slate in general. Would like to see a few more games on Fridays. I think we do have that coming up. I think next Friday we do have like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 games. So hopefully the schedule's going to get a little bit better. I know after football's done, it will get a lot better and a lot of tired teams. So kind of a typical, how should I say, unbalanced start for the NHL for the first month. All right. What else to talk about in this game? Colorado won. I just feel like I talk in circles when I talk about them. So other lines in this game that I think you can consider, actually on the Colorado side, the second line, and this is how I think you can get a little bit different, is if you include 1 or 2 skaters from the second line and kind of throw max correlation out the window. You've got Soderberg with Matt Calvert and Matt Nieto, and this has actually been a pretty good trio. They've played 70 minutes together. They have 59.3 Corsi for per 60. That's very solid. The high danger chances, 15 per 60. The scoring chances, almost 30. So looks like a really solid line. And they're obviously not going to get the quote-unquote toughest matchup for Vancouver. There isn't really a tough matchup for Vancouver. This is not a good team. And there's just a clear advantage for Colorado here. But I think the second line could actually be somewhat interesting. Soderberg, Nieto, Calvert. You can probably Josh stack them pretty easy, or 5 to 6 man stack if people don't know what the Josh stack is. So I also like this Colorado 2 a little bit. And I think I'm going to be doing mostly 5-man stacks tonight. So even on lineups where I do have McKinnon, Ranson, and Landeskog, and like Tyson Barrie, I still might be including in some of those lineups a guy like Calvert or Nieto or Soderberg, even though it's not perfect correlation. It's a 2-game slate, so you got to get a little bit creative, and that's what we're trying to do here. Vancouver's side, they broke up Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser, so I was pretty disappointed to see that. But we do have Besser back with his familiar center, Bo Horvat, with Tim Schaller. I don't know what that is. I don't know how long that's going to stick. I did see these lines that we have right here posted on Daily Faceoff, and then I was just looking through some of the stuff from the beats earlier today, and they were saying that Coach Green confirmed it was going to be the same lineup again. So I don't know if it's just weird wording or they meant same lineup as what they skated with yesterday. But I would definitely keep an eye out for the Vancouver lines. They're always subject to change. It seems like they're one of those teams that there's always a couple things that you didn't expect when it gets to a half an hour before their game. So I'm going to be watching that. I think that's a potential edge. I know the slate, it's not like the slate locks early and people just forget about it, but maybe people make their lineups a couple hours before. If for some reason, like Elias Pettersson is with Goldobin and Besser, and they just keep that line together, then you're in a very good spot as far as a potential edge there. just for correlation reasons. So Horvat and Besser are my favorite pairing in this game. I'm probably going to leave off Schaller, especially if I'm going with 5-mans. Let's say you roll out a 5-man Colorado stack and you've got 2 other forward spots or a center and utility, then yeah, I would love to fit in Horvat and Besser. Just looking at my first few crunches, I have a lot of them. So you can play them with Colorado 1 if you get a little bit creative, punt a couple spots. So that's going to be something I'm really interested in doing. I want to play the best players. I want to play the best lines in the slate. Even though it is short, I just want to play them differently. As I said, I think a couple of nights ago, and it worked out. I'm not expecting to be binking every 2-game slate, but you can certainly play chalk. Just play it in a different way or get creative in some way. Elias Pettersson, Louis Eriksson, and Nikolai Goldobin is not a bad line, but I do really prefer Pettersson and Goldobin. Louis Eriksson looks like he doesn't have a ton left in the tank. I think he's going to be somewhat popular because he is 2,900 and he is somewhat of a name. Maybe in people's models last year he was okay. But I'm going to try to avoid him as much as possible and stick to Pettersson and Goldobin and that Vancouver top power play because Colorado has committed, and haven't committed. They have been shorthanded the most times in the NHL to start this season. And oddly enough, Vancouver has been second. So if I'm game stacking, like intentionally game stacking, I know this total is higher, but I much prefer this game because I think we've got a couple decent defensive teams in the other one. And this one I think could get pretty wild if it's played on 5-on-4, which I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to see a lot of penalties here. All right, defensemen here. We've got Sam Girard, Eric Johnson, Tyson Barrie. I really prefer Tyson Barrie here. I know that's not a hot take. He's 5,500. If you can fit him with Colorado 1, that's great, but it is also going to handcuff you. You're going to be even funneled to an even tighter group of potential lines you can stack with Colorado 1. So I want 3 of the 4 of Colorado 1 plus Tyson Barrie if I am stacking them, but probably going to want to leave someone out unless you're just full 5 or 6-man stacking. So if you're 3-man stacking, maybe leaving off Ranson or Landeskog. I know you want the full stack, but instead you put in Tyson Barrie. Could be a nice way to get different. I don't really love anything else on the blue line for Colorado. Sam Girard is 3,900. I mean, he's not free anymore, so I really don't like him that much. I prefer Eric Johnson if you're going outside of Tyson Barrie here. And then on the Vancouver side for defensemen here, Hutton and Gudbranson are going to be stuck on McKinnon here. At least that's what we expect. And they're not great, neither one of them, but they are cheap, and they're going to play a lot of minutes. So I mentioned Hutton, I think, on the Showdown slate on Wednesday. He had been playing, I think he'd gotten 24-plus minutes in 3 out of his last 4. Looking at what he played on Wednesday, he played another 22 minutes. You can probably expect at least that tonight. And same thing with Gudbranson. Block shots could make a difference on a 2-game slate here. And if these guys find their way into a point or 2, you're just absolutely loving that for 35 and 3,100. So I prefer Hutton if I have to go with one, but Gudbranson is the other guy that I like as far as guys that don't really correlate all that well on the power play. Because you see, they don't get power play time, at least they're not listed there. Pouliot at 4K, second pairing, is the other guy I think you should consider. He's fine. He's whatever. I mean, if you are stacking up that power play, you probably should consider him. But if you don't have the salary, Hutton or Gudbranson both make for fine plays. And then another guy that I noticed, I was just running with Fantasy Crunchers projections to start. I always like to do that to see if I can get a feel on ownership, see what kind of fits together. I think Del Zotto is going to be a popular punt here. I'd rather go elsewhere. There's a ton of punts on this slate. at all positions, and I'd rather not go with a Michael Del Zotto. He is on the third pairing. I think I would rather go with someone in the next game, like a Jason Demers, Hjalmarsson, or something like that, or even like Trevor Van Riemsdyk. So just wanted to point that out. Goalies, I'm going to have Carolina 2 for all the money. Goalies, I'm going to have exposure to all of them, so it's probably not fair for me to really be saying I'm super high on one, but Grubauer is coming up in a lot of my initial crunches, so take that for what you will. Carolina, Arizona, the other game on the night. It's going to be actually Peter Mrazek, or at least he's the likely starter for Carolina, going up against Antti Raanta. I believe Mrazek is 70, he's 7K, just 7K flat. Going into Arizona against Antti Raanta, who is 8,200. All right, this game, while we don't know the line matching, how it's going to go, because Arizona has been doing some weird stuff with their line matching, and then in some games they haven't been matching at all. But one game specifically against Buffalo, they did put the Richardson line up against the Eichel line for the majority of their time. So if that's the case, we don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm taking a chance and playing a bunch of Arizona 3 here: Richardson, Grabner, Vinny Hinostroza. I mean, I like Hinostroza as a one-off, but I don't mind the stack in total. They're going to see some time against Aho, Teravainen, and Furlan, even if they don't hard match. And that Aho line's been pretty poor defensively. And then this Richardson line has been really solid offensively, like a 60 Corsi for percentage. They're creating a ton of high danger chances, ton of scoring chances. So on a 2-game slate, looking for anything to get me off of the standard plays here. So if you are going 4-3-1, I think you don't really have to worry about ownership with this Arizona 3. The other lines on Arizona, I think my least favorite line for Arizona here might be the Galchenyuk, Keller, Richard Panik line. As weird as that sounds, I like Stepan with Perlini and Christian Fischer. I like their pricing. I think you can fit them with Colorado 1, so I would hesitate to do that in too many lineups, or again, play it in some creative way, leave someone off, add another forward for power play correlation, something like that. Because I think you can fit them in pretty easily with Colorado 1. So 4-3-1s, I would try to rule those 2 lines out. Galchenyuk and Keller, like I said, they're fine, but I think they are they're going to be my least exposed line, I think, out of the other 2 Arizona lines, which is weird to say because they're probably going to come in at somewhat lower ownership. You really can't fit them in with Colorado 1. So like one-offs, I prefer Keller as a one-off if you have 6K to spend. Or if you are 5-man stacking the Hurricanes, I think that a one-off with Keller or Keller, Ekman Larson, something like that is a pretty solid strategy. You see the 5.5 total here. I think Arizona is actually, I know the record has been good so far, or at least adequate. I think they're a pretty solid defensive team. They were down the stretch last season, especially when they were at home. They were doing a lot of hard matching with Stepan, and they haven't, like I said, they haven't really been doing that this year. But yeah, I just don't think Arizona is like a team you should just automatically attack, which I don't know the temperature of the industry because there's not a lot of NHL content out there, but I think just the average person, maybe someone that's new to NHL DFS, would just see Arizona and think, man, I should just load up against them, whereas I don't think that's the case. And maybe I could be completely off on that. I guess I don't really know. Carolina's side, you've got Aho, Teravainen, and Michael Furland as the top line. I think I want the Stahl, Fogle, and Justin Williams line. Those numbers are really tough to ignore. The only problem with them, and again, this is why the slate comes down to Colorado 1, is that they fit with Colorado 1. It's not super easy, but it can be done. So That's the only problem I have with them. The numbers are great. I think the matchup's going to be good. I think they're going to see some time against Keller, Galchenyuk, Pierlini, Galchenyuk, Keller, and Richard Panik, the second line as well. They probably won't see too much time against Richardson. So I just think they're a solid line. I think they're a little bit underpriced. Carolina 1, I think, is pretty fairly priced. So that's why I do prefer the second line. But I think that's going to be reflected in ownership as well. So there's not really any hot takes for me tonight. I don't have like a fourth line that I'm looking at least not right now. If you guys have one, please enlighten me. But it's going to be with lineup construction. So we'll play around with some different things you can do once I'm done talking about defensemen here. Jacob Slavin, Dougie Hamilton, the top pairing here. I really want to jam in Hamilton. It is really hard because there are some expensive forwards that I like. But Dougie will be still, it's looking like he's going to be one of my highest owned defensemen, top 2 or 3 for sure, even at 6K, even on the second power player listed there. He's just shooting so much. And I think he's got a really good floor. So if I can fit him in at all, he would be my number 1 or number 2 guy behind Tyson Barrie. But they're neck and neck. Justin Falk is going to be somewhat popular. He is 5,300. I think Dougie Hamilton is so much better than him, and he's cheaper. So there you go. That's how you get the Falk play, especially on a night where you're trying to jam in the best line of the night. So I'm going to steer clear of Falk as much as I can. And then if I'm punting here, it's going to be Trevor Van Riemsdyk for 3,000 on Carolina. On Arizona's side, like all these guys are kind of in play. So Goligoski at 4,900, I think he's quite a bit overpriced. But outside of him, like I'll have some Jason Demers because he is on the top pairing with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's going to see 20+ minutes. I think Hjalmarsson's got a decent chance to see 20+ minutes. I think Osterley is actually pretty decent. The problem with him is that he's 4,300, kind of in an awkward price range. A lot of my lineups are going to be with either Hamilton or Tyson Barrie. So it's going to be tough for me to fit in another mid-priced defenseman. So that's where I'm at for the Arizona defenseman there. I don't think I missed anything in this game. Chat is awfully quiet today. That is forgivable because of the nature of the two-man game. But if anybody is listening to me, feel free to shout out some things we should do with the lineup builder. You guys can also get access to the lineup builder for free with promo code HITTHEICE. You get access to what's on your screen, Awesemo's rankings, which should be dropping pretty soon if they haven't already. You get access to my projections. Fantasy Cruncher is included in the free trial now, which is a pretty big deal. You should go try that out. All the rankings are updated. There we go. And then you also get into our premium Slack chat. So if you're not in Slack, you should definitely do that. Even if you don't want to play with Fantasy Cruncher or the lineup builder, I think the Slack chat is very valuable, especially on bigger slates when you're trying to break down the news. People post tweets in there, post the line matching, what we think it's going to be. So it is very valuable. Feel free to give us a like if you do enjoy what we do. It helps us do it for free in the future. Top ceiling for defense. Top ceiling. Man, it's probably Tyson Barrie. He just correlates so well to that Colorado 1 line, which should just dominate. I know the numbers might say otherwise, or maybe they're going to be leaky defensively, but yeah, Tyson Barrie I think has the highest upside, but I think Dougie's right behind him, honestly. So yeah, it would be Tyson Barrie, then Dougie as 1A. Let's see what we can do. Oh, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Kevin, you like OEL? I wouldn't say he has the highest ceiling. He's probably got one of the higher floors. Stepan? You want to try the Stepan line, Richard? Or what are you talking about with Stepan there? Let's see. I just want to see what you can do with Colorado 1. Maybe we could even do this on Fantasy Cruncher and just lock in Colorado 1. That's my top stacks of the article of the day. That's my article I do Monday through Saturday. Got a much better slate tomorrow, or at least a much fuller slate tomorrow. You like him? Yeah, I think I'm higher on Arizona than most people, and I still do like Carolina for the season, but I guess tonight and for the season, I do like Arizona. Arizona Onslaught, let's go. We can try that out. Let's do that while we are. Let's lock in McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen and see what we can do. We're going to make 50 of these. What other settings could we add? Actually, let's just do this. Ooh, Brock McGinn. Gross. Gross that he's on line 4. I'm actually somewhat of a Brock McGinn fan when he's playing on a real line. Like I don't think he's too bad. But 4th line, as you see there, no power play time. Still pretty gross, even for 2,700. Struggling to pick a goalie, yeah, that's everyone. It seems like in NHL DFS. That's why I always say it's nice to correlate if you can. So this isn't giving us much correlation. Let's do this. And then we'll make your Arizona Onslaught, Kevin. Man. It's giving us a lot of Dylan Strome. Ranta? Yeah, these lineups look pretty ugly. You got to double punt here, especially if you are going with Philip Grubauer. Boy. All right, you want to do Arizona Onslaught? We can full stack line 2, get Galchenyuk and Keller in there, get in OEL, get in. All right, that's a 6-man. Let's make it a 5-man. This is what I think I'm going to be running tonight. So this is what I would do. Horvat, Besser. Now you've got a one-off. What would I do here? I'd probably go Markstrom there. Now look at this. We got our buddy Dougie Hamilton. I feel like Ranta is a trap for me. Every time I smash Arizona, Ranta stands on his head. Feeling like I get blown up if I take him. I mean, there's guys like that all the time. That's just a cognitive bias. I feel like I have guys like that. Colorado 1 was not a guy, but a line like that where I felt like I was wrong on them all the time. And then one time I was on them and I was like, I don't know, I got close, or maybe I won a tournament last year playing them, and now I love them. So it only takes one. I mean, you're going to be wrong probably most nights, especially if you're playing limited lineups. So I don't know. I would just try to take that out of the equation. Meltation. What else should we do here? This is another lineup I can actually see myself making. I'd want to go Soderberg, Nieto. No. Let's do. How would I do this? How would I do a 5-man with somewhat of correlation? Do EJ. There you go. Brock. Now it's punting time here. Oof, can't quite do it. So you'd have to go. It'd be Mrazek, but you get the point. Mrazek with Dahan. Oof. Good old Matt Calvert one off. That's pretty ugly. All right, that's probably enough for this 2-game slate. Probably already covered every single base. Use that promo code. DFS is about being forgetful. Yeah, you gotta forget. You gotta just forget what happened. Well, don't forget, but remember what happened yesterday and learn from it. So go into FC Rewind if you have access to it. FC Rewind, Fantasy Cruncher Rewind is free. So use that, even if you don't sub to Osmo. I mean, you should sub to Osmo, but even if you don't, use Fantasy Cruncher Rewind. Play around with it. Learn how to be a better MME player if that's what you do. Even if you don't MME, you should be on Fantasy Cruncher Rewind. It's an incredibly valuable tool, and for some reason, it's still free for anyone. So I hope that changes because I use Fantasy Cruncher. I don't want people getting that for free, but it is now, so use it. Use that promo code. Also, hit the ice. You get the actual Fantasy Cruncher. You can upload your projections. You can upload my projections. Promo code hit the ice. We will probably be back on Monday. I don't know what the slate looks like. Looks like we've got a ton of games tomorrow. No early slate, so you can't. Well, I think there is one game, but there's no. There's not multiple games. So if you want to showdown it, do it. If not, hopefully we see some real contests on DraftKings and FanDuel for tomorrow's slate. But anyways, I will have the stacks article. I have projections, all that stuff. We will have a morning skate article. We'll have the power play article. Hopefully some more cash game content on the site coming up very soon. Give us a like if you do enjoy this. See you guys tomorrow. Good luck on this 2-gamer. See you at the top of the leaderboard.